Hello, I'm a spinning grey cube and I'd like to talk to you today about Nigel Farage's testicles. Specifically here, I'd like to enumerate them. 1. Nigel Farage is a monorchid. He has a single testicle after a brush with testicular cancer. Now, this is neither a secret nor news. He actually wrote about this in his autobiography a few years ago, but it's news to me, so I'm talking about it. As he tells the story, back in his 20s he suffered some pain in the trouser region, followed by his testicle swelling up to the size of a lemon. Well, you know what they say, Nigel, when life gives you lemon-sized testicles. Convinced there is a punchline to follow that, but I just haven't quite figured out what it is. I'm just going to leave a blank bit here and come back and put something clever in later. So, after a medical procedure, Farage and his testicle were forced to part company, and one of them grew up to lead a right-wing British political movement, after the cancerous testicle changed its name to Paul Goulding. Paul Goulding is the one on the left here, as you can see enumerating his own testicles. Not to be confused with Jada Franson, the woman on the right side of the photo, whose pleasant demeanour was caused by the fact that her heart is an actual lemon. I'm not certain what she's enumerating, possibly the number of parents who gave her insufficient affection as an infant. But back to Nigel Farage. Now, what makes this story interesting, dare I say even amusing to me, is that Nigel Farage isn't the only political leader with only one testicle, and many of those other people historically have been, shall we say, a little bit dictatorial, a little bit fascistic, perhaps even a little bit responsible for the deaths of millions of people. For example, Napoleon Bonaparte only had one ball. No one knows where he lost it, or even if he lost it, he may simply have been born without it. That is not the case with General Francisco Franco of Spain, who lost a testicle in a skirmish in Morocco early in his military career. And firmly in the responsible for the deaths of millions of people camp is Mao Zedong, who lost a ball during the Chinese Revolutionary War. But of course, the most famous historical monarchid is Adolf Hitler. The reason why Hitler is so widely associated with monarchidism is the World War II marching song sung to the tune of Colonel Bogey, Hitler has only got one ball. But because that song goes on to make seemingly far-fetched claims about the circumstances of the testicle's removal and its current whereabouts, followed by suggesting an increasingly bizarre list of other trouser region medical defects suffered by various members of Hitler's cabinet, many people consider Hitler's actual monarchidism to be simply a myth. It's not. Hitler is generally agreed by academics these days to genuinely have only had one ball, with the exception of a few fringe right-wing historians and conspiracy theorists, and I'm sure you're all aware of the controversy surrounding this position, commonly referred to by the term Holocaust denial. But the Führer's medical condition wasn't widely known during the war, so the amazing thing about that song is that whoever wrote those lyrics did so with no foreknowledge, simply by looking at a picture of Hitler or a film of one of his speeches and surmising entirely correctly, just look at that guy has clearly only got one ball. And this does make me wonder why it's taken me this long to figure out about Nigel Farage. I mean, just look at him. So Hitler had one ball and he lost the other to shrapnel from an enemy shell during the Battle of the Somme. And there is a doctor's account of him being stretchered off the field, bleeding from the groin, and asking the doctors if he would still be able to have children. The doctor's reply wasn't recorded, but I like to think it was something along the lines of, no children, I'm afraid, but the good news is that if you play your cards right, every single science fiction supervillain for about the next 150 years is going to try and clone you. Now, like Nigel Farage, Hitler famously didn't like foreigners very much. But at least Hitler can say that one of those foreigners did shoot off one of his testicles. Nigel Farage, on the other hand, has no excuse. Nigel Farage is just a piece of shit.